Cuando tú tienes más estantes y tienes más libros en tu cabeza, tienes mayores resultados. Vacía tus bolsillos en tu cerebro y tu cerebro llenará tus bolsillos.
No tiene problemas económicos. ¿Y quién es el mejor entrenador de ventas del mundo? Brian Tracy. Yo me empecé a leer sus libros. Yo no tenía dinero para llegar a Brian Tracy. Al primer evento de Tony Robbins que fui, me valía $1,000 y no teníamos los $1,000. Lo pagamos con varias tarjetas y desde ahí siempre invertimos una cantidad importante. Yo le digo a la gente, vacía tu bolsillo en tu mente, que tu mente llenará tus bolsillos y tu corazón.
Wow, me encantó.
For me when I understood this philosophy. Learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That's the simple philosophy that changed my life forever starting age 25. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living, which is fine. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune, which is super fun.
In yourself, investing in education, investing in your own business. I feel like there could be a very strong possibility of diluting your energy by looking out and not realizing like you are the most valuable business asset that you have.
My friend Alex Hormozy calls it the SME 500, investing in yourself before you invest in anything else. The highest ROI you're ever going to have is on yourself because you have infinite time horizon for it. And you have, again, asymmetric upside. You have unlimited earnings potential. And so if you could spend on anything, you should spend on education to start, but real education. Like I think these days we spend on credentials, not education. There's a big difference. I don't care if you went to Harvard or not. I want to know, did you learn how to do M&A properly? That's why we started an academy. I started an education institute because my mom was a 30-year special education teacher. She got me obsessed with learning and obsessed with reading. And because of that, I got skilled pretty quickly and I learned how to ask a lot of questions as a journalist and then grew my way through finance. I want to do that same thing for people learning M&A. And so I think we should take the education system back from universities. We're already starting to do that in a big way, at least from the big, expensive private universities. Public universities actually serve a really good purpose, I think. And then I want to take that education and then apply that and my capital to whatever I'm going to do next. So let's say you're a business owner right now. Probably a lot of people listening might be independent contractors. They might have like a job that they own as a business. Grow through acquisition. I acqui-hired a video production company inside of one of my companies, which just means like I needed talent in my company instead of going and hiring them individually. I worked with a vendor. I was like, you guys are good. And I was like, hey, I think you can make more money with me than you. Why don't I acquire your company? And you come on board with me. And so there's so many ways for you to not dilute yourself. It's not like you're going to go out there and buy a car wash, laundromat, and run the main business. Instead, it's like, how can I bring all of these businesses into my main business and continue to build an empire just in a grouping of 100 clients at a time as opposed to one?
What about investing in yourself, investing in education, investing in your own business? I feel like there could be a very strong possibility of diluting your energy by looking out and not realizing like you are the most valuable business asset that you have.
My friend Alex Hormozy calls it the SME 500, investing in yourself before you invest in anything else. The highest ROI you're ever.
The first way to invest in yourself is to improve your skills. Personal growth is made possible when you improve your awareness and develop your ideal identity. One of the best ways you can do this is by maximizing your talents and sharpening your skills in your chosen field. Many years ago, when I got into sales, I found that I had no fear of knocking on doors, but I was terrible at closing the sale. So I invested a year in reading and listening to audio programs and going to seminars to learn how to close a sale. And I finally became so good at closing the sale that in 1 year, my income increased 10 times.
It's really simple. The most important investment you can make is in you. When I interviewed him a decade ago or so, I said, what's the most important investment you ever made? And I was waiting for Coca-Cola or Geico or, I knew all his investments. And he said, it's what you teach. And I said, well, I teach a lot of things. He goes, I went and I learned how to run my own mind, but more importantly, I learned how to communicate. He went to Dale Carnegie. He said it was the best investment of my life. You wouldn't know who I was otherwise, because all this mind knowledge wouldn't have any value unless I could communicate, right?
Life, seek your teachers. If you listen to a school teacher about money, I'll pray for you tonight. Find your teacher. So listen to Warren Buffett. Listen to. You can listen to Grant Cardone also. You can listen to me. You can listen to Dave Ramsey. The biggest question is, how smart are you with your money? What does school teach you about money? Nothing. What does God want you to do? Just invest in your brain. Think for yourself.
Good book.
lock into that book and start studying. Like, I got this one, looks like a Bible, but this is Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. I've been reading this thing now for 23 years. I'll probably read it for another 23 years. I'll get another good book that I brought over here today. It's called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I'm not getting the commission for selling this. The author now, he's been gone for a couple of years. But Dr. Joseph Murphy wrote this book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And that's probably one of the best books that you're ever going to find, because you're going to learn something about your mind when you read this book. Now, I read a lot of books. I've got probably 1,000 books sitting in my den at home in my library. But the one that I carry it everywhere I go, and I read it all the time, is Think and Grow Rich. I never stop reading it.
To discard information that it thinks has a relevance. If you think like what is education, like you're basically downloading data and algorithms into your brain, and it's actually amazingly bad in conventional education, because like it shouldn't be like this huge chore. So I think colleges are basically for fun and to prove you can do your chores, but they're not for learning. You're self-taught. Yeah. Well, self-taught, yes, meaning I don't have an aerospace degree. So how did you go about acquiring the knowledge? Well, I read a lot of books, spoke to a lot of people, and have a great team. It's important to teach problem solving. We'll teach to the problem, not to the tools. So this would be like, let's say you're trying to teach people about how engines work. Or, you could start by a more traditional approach would be to say, well, we're going to teach you all about screwdrivers and wrenches, and you can have a course on screwdrivers and bolt-on wrenches and all these things. And this is a very difficult way to do it. A much better way would be like, here's the engine. Now let's take it apart. How are we going to take it apart? Oh, you need a screwdriver. That's what the screwdriver is for. You need a wrench. That's what the wrench is for. And then a very important thing happens, which is that the relevance of tools becomes apparent. You don't need college to learn stuff, okay? But everything is available basically for free. You can learn anything you want for free. It is not a question of learning. There is a value that colleges have, which is like, seeing whether can somebody work hard at something, including a bunch of sort of annoying homework assignments, and still do their homework assignments and kind of soldier through and get it done. That's like the main value of college. And then also, if you probably want to hang around with a bunch of people your own age for a while instead of going right into the workforce. So I think colleges are basically for fun and to prove you can do your chores, but they're not for learning.
Dollars anymore. You want to hold something else. You want to hold real estate. You want to hold an interest in a business. There's a lot of good. Your best defense is your own earning power. If you're the best doctor in town, if you're the best lawyer in town, if you're the best teacher in town, or even if you're the 10th best or 10th, you're going to make a good living. I mean, the economy is productive, and you will succeed with your talents, but you won't succeed by hoarding dollars. You'll just succeed by the fact that your value to the community, which is a rich community overall, is sustained. And so the best investment is always in yourself. That's the answer I would give you.